today on the show we have our, what we refer to as our thespian in residence in Wellesley, Woody Gaul, who is the Wellesley community's artist, TV commercial, film, theater expert. And Woody attended the University of Maine. And since has been in many theater, film, and TV productions. The range of his work runs from King Lear to Oklahoma to being a spokesperson for industrial commercials like Fidelity Investments. And as it turns out, he's also been on As the World Turns and Law and Order Criminal Intent. So Woody is also a member of the Theatre Espresso, and he is in residence at Wheelock College. And he also does outreach programming with Commonwealth Shakespeare Company and individual theater coaching. And he's worked as an adjudicator, is that right? Adjudicator for the Massachusetts Educational Theater Guild high school one-act play competitions for the last 4 years. So this is quite a lot of work to fit into a 24-hour day schedule. So I'm impressed. But I'm gonna start by asking you where you grew up, and I'm assuming that's in Maine.
It is in Maine. I grew up in a small town in mid-coast Maine called Belfast. It's a town about 6,000 people. My father moved there 60 years ago and met my mom in a shoe factory there. And my brother and I and my 2 older brothers grew up there.
So you have siblings, so you're the youngest?
I'm the youngest, yeah. I'm the youngest of a split family, so I have 2 half-brothers who are 16 and 18 years older than I am, and then I have a brother who's 2 years older than I am as well.
And how do you refer to yourself? Do you say, I am an actor? Or
I do.
A theater personality? Or what do you say when you say, Woody, what do you do when you say?
I say I'm an actor.
An actor. That's
Yeah.
it. You're good with that.
Yeah.
And are you the only actor in your family? Or
I
are there
am.
others?
I am.
Other famous
I am.
Gauls that we should
My
know
older
about?
No. My older brother Nathan did some acting when he was in school, in high school and college as well. And then my dad actually did some community theater acting years ago, actually, when my brother and I first started out. But I'm the only one that has continued along with it.
Yeah. So did you attend your father's community theater productions? And
I did. Actually, it's funny because he got into it from my brother and I. I sort of started our foray into the theater, and then my brother tagged along, and then my dad as well, because he has such a strong, prominent voice.
Baritone.
Yes.
Yes, I saw your resume, and I would never have known to associate you with having a baritone voice.
Oh,
Usually
really?
when I meet people, I don't think what voice tone they have.
Oh, yeah.
But now that you've mentioned this, every time I meet someone, I'm going to say, are you a soprano, a baritone? So this is awesome. So what got you really interested as acting as a career?
Well, as a career, geez, I don't know if I'm still really positive on my career focus of it.
Well, all actors say that.
I think so. But I really started out, we were in a UCC Christian church when I was growing up, and I did a lot of church pageants when I was younger, and I was specifically in this one Christmas pageant where I got to play King Herod. And one of the members of our congregation was also in a community theater in Belfast, and asked me if I'd be interested in coming to join their production. And so he got me involved in the first real production that I did, which was Richard III.
Well, that's
with a
a
local
heavy
company
thing
of
to jump
Belfast
right
Massacres.
into.
Yeah, it was big, it was huge, but it
Yeah.
was wonderful because it was directed by this guy who'd been in the theater forever and really understood Shakespeare and really understood how to teach
Was it an
somebody
adaptation?
very inexperienced as me.
Or
No.
It was the,
No,
in
no,
the
it was a-
Victorian English.
Yeah, I mean,
the
I
language
wasn't
of
playing
Shakespeare.
Richard and I
Yeah.
wasn't playing, one of the dukes, but
Wow. So,
I just got to play a servant, but it was a great learning experience to be around these actors and this director who really understood how to make Shakespeare accessible. And that's really where my love for the theater, my love for Shakespeare started. And then I had a sort of circuitous route through high school and college where I was very insecure about what I wanted to do for a long time.
as is every
Yeah.
high school and college student, pretty
Yeah.
much. So you have about 1 billion people for company
Yeah.
on that one. So no, that's great. So you've been pretty much doing this continuously since high school. So that's a good 30 years.
Yeah.
I'd say 20 years.
Well, almost that now. But yeah, I've been involved. Definitely, I've been involved in productions through high school, through college, off and on in more professional capacities in the past 6 years when I moved from Maine to New York City in the summer of 2009 is when I really became a semi-professional actor, and I've become a member of the Actors Equity, which is the stage actors union, only 2 years ago. So that's really the demarcation for me of becoming a real
crossing the line over into
professional
officially
actor now.
becoming a professional actor.
Yeah.
How exciting.
Yeah.
So did you have high school teachers who mentored you, or was it really more your involvement in the plays itself and the play directors?
Yeah, I had some really strong high school directors. No acting classes, unfortunately, in the high school that I grew up in.
Right.
So I also was still very much involved in the community theater in Belfast, which had a strong impact on me.
Right.
But there were two, Larison Guthrie and Mr. Mike Lawson were two really big inspirations for me in high school, who were two of my high school directors.
And it made a difference to you that they were so passionate about their craft, and it sort of passed on to everybody else, you included.
Yeah, exactly. Really in different ways, where I actually, years later when I was through high school, through college, and living back in Belfast, worked with the high school kids on their one-act play competition with Mike Lawson, who was one of my theater directors in high school. And I really loved his philosophy of really including everyone and really making everyone a part of this production really in a great way.
And so you had a chance to actually come back and then mentor other students.
Exactly.
And work with the director as more of like a professional actor rather than one of his mentees.
Exactly. Which is one of the things that I think I learned from the community theater world, was really giving back to people who have less experience and helping them out.
Do you think that it also helps to solidify your skills when you teach others?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Awesome.
I think that's been great for me.
So tell us about some of your training.
So my training, so I actually started college at Emerson College right out of high school, and I wanted to do film production. And I very quickly realized I had no idea what I was doing and why I was doing it, and I was spending way too much money not knowing what I wanted to do. So I transferred back home to the University of Maine, and I studied theater, and I also studied English. And then years later, I took different classes at studios in New York City, and spent a summer program at the New Actors Workshop, which is now unfortunately defunct, but it was started by Mike Nichols and George Morrison and Paul Sills, where I really fine-tuned some of the preparation and improvisational skills for characterization technique.
And if you had to pick one place that really you felt trained you the best, which would that be?
I think some of the things that I learned at the University of Maine really helped with my characterization and really helped me personally with my insecurity to push me along in a really great way. And then I also feel like the New Actors Workshop sort of just solidified everything in a really great way and gave me a lot of techniques to fall back on to help improve my characterization in a really great way.
And I have a list here of all the amazing roles that you've played, from Twelfth Night to Luther to Cabaret and Hamlet and Death Trap. And all these sound awesome. And I wanted to ask you, what do you prefer? Do you like to play like the good character? Or do you find it more interesting to play the King Lears and the Othellos?
I really try to find something. I really try to enjoy every role I get to do clearly, and try to find something in that role that connects to me, and also something in that role that pushes me and stretches me in a new way. And my dad always likes to say that he always prefers when I'm a character actor rather than a leading man type of guy. And I feel like, fortunately, lately, I've been able to play more character roles.
Yeah. And tell us about the difference between those two for people who are not in the biz.
Well, you mentioned earlier that I got to play like Curly in Oklahoma, which is much more, definitely more of a typically straight leading man type of guy.
It's like an upstanding citizen. Who has
Yeah.
a solid character and no
Right.
real shuffling or waffling.
Right. And then actually in this past winter in January, I got to do a production of Virginia Woolf's Orlando, where I got to play some very different, very eccentric people. I got to
Right.
play an archduchess from Romania.
A duchess.
Yeah, who
So-
was
so
actually
they-
an archduke in disguise.
I see.
And then,
Wow.
yeah,
So that's like a man dressed like a woman dressed like a man?
exactly.
I got it.
Yeah.
Wow, that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
That's quite a feat to pull off, actually.
Well, yeah,
Yeah?
there were
Being a
some
man
there were
trying
some
to act
fun
like a woman
layers.
who's playing a man.
Yeah.
That's quite complicated. So tell us about some of your work with film and TV. What was
Yeah.
that like?
It really started when I moved to New York in 2009. I did a lot of background work for mostly TV shows, as you mentioned, and then for some films as well. And then it's changed now since I've moved to Boston. Now there's a lot more commercial and industrial work locally, which is great and wonderful. And it's very different from the theater world in good ways and bad ways. And definitely a lot of the background work that I was doing is just a lot of the grunt work of, putting in the time and standing on your mark and waiting while things go by. And a lot of the commercial industrial work that I get to do now is more enjoyable because you really get to have a say in what you're doing. You really get to, have your own voice in a way. But it's still not where my love is. I have to say that my passion is definitely with theater because you really get some time to craft out something rather than just, come and
Here's the script.
hit it and,
Advertise for champagne.
maybe hopefully you get,
Right.
2 or 3 takes. But
Right. So what were some of the commercials you've done? What products have you advertised?
what products
Give
have I
us
advertised?
some examples.
Well, contractually, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say some of these things. Merrill Edge, I did a commercial for them. Fidelity, I did a industrial for them, and then I also have started doing. I think this is going to be something that's picked up more. Something for Dell Intel, which is more of an industrial industry product. When they have new products, they have me and this other guy as spokespeople presenting and talking about these new products that we're going to be using in our company, which is really great and awkward and fun because we have no idea what we're talking about. And we come up with some of these words and we're like, I don't
But the sonorous sound of your voice.
But we have to sort of present the fact that, we're these, IT professionals who know what we're talking about.
And when you do those, you're not actually being filmed. It's mostly your voice.
No, those are
Actual,
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they can see you and hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, so you really have to bring the excitement, like all about this product that you're talking about.
Right. These are great products. We're going to be renovating. Yeah.
Those are quite some acting skills there.
Yeah.
Wow. So do you gravitate towards one or the other at different phases or times in your life? Are you like a mood actor?
No.
At some points in your life, do you prefer to go do commercials or
I don't
theater
know unless you're, a really big time actor. If you get to be a mood actor, you just have to be wherever the paycheck is.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely,
So, for example,
I
if you're
gravitate
offered
towards theater, and I, do as much as I
So if
possibly
you're offered
can.
like 6 theater roles,
Yeah.
depends which one you might pick given a certain phase or time in your life. Have you ever
Yeah,
felt like
definitely. I mean, definitely there have been times when I've had to choose between different roles and depending on
Yeah.
what's going to stretch me more
Yeah.
or what I haven't done as much lately.
Right.
If it's Shakespeare, I would definitely probably jump towards that.
Right. So you like a good challenge. That's what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
hearing. You always go for the roles that are more challenging rather than the comfort roles that are
Yeah.
sort of easier for you.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really surprising sometimes how roles will, change. And you might think that it might be easier than it really is once you get in it.
And so
a lot
who
of
are-
times it's what you put into it.
And who are you with now? What theater companies what plays are you doing currently, and who are you with?
Yeah, right now I'm doing a production of Chekhov's Three Sisters with the Wellesley Summer Theater, actually soon to be the Wellesley Repertory Theater. They're actually changing their name now, who've been in residence for about 20 years at Wellesley College.
Wellesley College. Yeah.
which is great and a wonderful show.
And
if you haven't
what's your
seen it,
part?
you got to come see it. Let me know.
It's
2
on
more
my-
weekends, this weekend and next weekend.
Good, it's on my list.
Yeah, yeah.
And
come,
who's
come.
your character? Who
So I get to play Vershinin, who is the battery commander colonel, who has just come to this new town, and you get to see really his change as he is trying to find his way and connect
Right.
with different people. And
A little spoiler alert, is he dating one of the 3 sisters?
not yet.
Not yet. Oh, but he might?
You'll have to come and see. You'll have to
all
come and
right.
see.
Okay, well,
yeah.
we'll just leave that there as a cliffhanger. And tell us about the highlights of all the plays you've done with Wellesley College. What have been some of the highlights? Do you work with a different crew every time, different kids, or college ladies, I should say?
College students, yes, the college students have been wonderful, and I have to say that the head of the theater department, Nora Hussey, has done a wonderful job of creating a great welcoming environment for these students to come into, and a lot of them are incredibly trained, and up to a lot of the professional levels that I work with in other companies. So that's been phenomenal.
Right.
And since I've been working with them, I've gotten to work on 7 different productions. And I think they're all unique and all different and special in their own way, which is great. And I love this role that I'm doing now, but I also have loved everything that I've gotten to do this season, which is really fun.
Do you get good costumes?
I do, yes. They have a wonderful costumer right now. Emily's
Right.
doing a great job with us. We really appreciate that.
How does it feel to be like someone different for like 2 hours every other weekend?
Yeah,
What is that
it's good.
experience
It's
like?
good.
What does that feel like?
It's I try to bring a lot of myself to all of my characters. I really do. So sometimes I feel like I'm, and sometimes even during a performance or during a scene, I can feel like I'm completely this other character, or I'm switching more towards me.
Yeah.
So it's this
that internal
really
compass.
tightrope balance that you're walking. But it's great. I actually have a close actor friend who's in this production with me, who's like, this is real life, and everything else is, just hard and crazy, and that's improv, and this is, the only thing that we can really believe in and trust is the production
the
and
character on the
being
paper.
on stage in the theater.
Well, interesting. So when I come watch this play, I'm going to see Woody Gaul if he were in the army.
Well, no.
Right.
No, I definitely wouldn't say that. But I think that, as any good actor does, I really try to draw on a lot of the experiences from my own life and figure out, like if I had gone through these experiences and if I'm now in this situation, So not necessarily how I would be in the army,
Right.
but
Right, good to know.
given these circumstances, yeah.
Excellent, good to know. Tell us about Theatre Espresso.
Yeah, Theatre Espresso is a wonderful group. So they've been around for almost 20 years now, and we're in residence in Wheelock College, as you said, and what we do is we do an interactive historical drama, and we have 6 different shows right now, and we go to schools mostly, and also to some courtrooms around the Massachusetts area, and a little bit in New Hampshire. And it's mostly at the middle school level, but they all deal with justice in some different way. So I actually am an understudy in 5 of the different shows right now. And I went on last week in a show called Uprising on King Street, which is about the Boston massacres. So and I got to play John Adams, which is really fun. So they were all historically, relevant, real things that happened. And then the audience, so these kids, we performed for 4th graders, I think it was. We put on this court trial that actually really happened in real life, and then the students act as the jury. So one of the actors comes out as the judge and talks to and interacts with the students and asks them questions, and then they get to vote on, if this captain is guilty or innocent, or
Who'd they think did it?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and you said 4th graders? Was it
Yeah,
4th
that
grade
I
class?
think that one was for 4th graders. It might have been 5th graders, but they looked like 4th graders.
Yeah. And this is, where was this again?
This one was in Lexington
Oh, okay.
that we performed. Yeah.
So people can call up Theatre Espresso and ask them to come down to their district and say, hey, would you
Definitely,
perform
definitely.
a
Yeah,
Boston
yeah,
Tea Party
yeah. Yeah, the
reenactment,
Wellesley
and-
PTA has been great
yeah,
at
yeah.
getting us into the middle school. We do
Oh,
a couple
good.
shows there
Oh,
every
nice.
year.
Awesome. Well, that's good to know. It's good
Yeah.
we have you on speed dial.
Exactly.
For these, that's awesome. And you
Yeah.
go to all these courtrooms because you like to observe, like trials in action, or
Yeah,
with the company?
we actually are in residence
Yeah.
as well
Yeah.
at the John Adams Courthouse
Oh, okay.
in downtown Boston, and we do some shows for lawyers.
Right. Oh, interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool. So it's like a training session.
Yeah, exactly.
For legal situations. Oh, that's an excellent resource, actually. And by the end of this, you could have like a defunct law degree. If you'd know every rule, you know, we
I could
interpret
act
the
like
Constitution.
I could
yeah,
act like I
it's-
know what I'm
it's
doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what's your plan for the coming year? What's next? I understand you're in 4 of those, and you have a Wellesley College play right now. So that's quite a lot of work. So what is your plan for the next following year?
Yeah, you know, that's always the big question
Right.
in the theater world, and it's
Right.
funny that, you know, we're in
Yeah.
this show now, and everyone's like, oh, so what are you doing next? What are you doing
Yeah.
next? What are you doing next? And so I have a couple different roles that I'm debating for the fall. So I don't want to say definitively
No,
what
no-
it
no
is,
spoilers on
but definitely have a few more shows lined
Yeah.
up with Wellesley College, which is great, and then continuing work with Theatre Espresso.
And do you try to book a year in advance, or 6 months in advance, or more
Yeah,
like a month or 2 in advance?
as far in advance as you can.
You can.
Yeah.
And are you one of those people who likes to not know what you're going to do 2 months from now?
Oh no, I like to know. I like to know exactly.
like to
that
have
I'm
it down.
doing. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's one of the difficult
Yeah.
things for
Yeah.
me personally and for my personality
Yeah.
is to deal with this sort of unknown
Yes.
of the world.
Because I can imagine it to be very spontaneous and
Yeah.
unplanned most of the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So wow, awesome.
Learning to go with the flow a little
There
bit.
you go. Well, awesome. And do you have any advice to give Wellesley students, high schoolers who may be interested in the theater?
Yeah, get involved anywhere you can. Take classes, get involved in the production. I'm actually working with a couple different people right now. One who's transitioning into going into college next year, and one who's a junior, so starting to think about auditioning for college programs. And I always think about if I had this guidance, what would I
Right.
do? And you know, going
Right.
forward, and you know, take voice lessons, take movement classes, take theater classes, and just get involved in as much as you can.
And you
right
think
now.
the voice lessons really help?
Yeah, voice lessons have been wonderful, and
And-
even for me, I've taken
not
voice
just for
lessons
singing,
for the past
but-
5 years. But yeah, just for projection and just
Yeah.
for control and command of your voice, because
Voice.
that's something that you
Right.
you need.
And
you're
people
going to
just
have.
take that for granted. They're like, what? I have
Right.
to control and command my voice? What for?
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Well, that's really awesome. That's good to know. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, well, thanks
Thank
thanks
you
for
for
having me. I
coming on.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, and tell us one more time the name of the play that you're on right now at Wellesley College.
Three Sisters. Chekhov's Three Sisters.
And we can look that up at Wellesley College's website.
WellesleySummerTheater.org, I guess.
Yes.
Probably. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, I'm sure everyone who's watching this will come out and see that.
Great. Please do.
Great. Thank you, Woody.
Thank you.